All right, this is everything that you need to know about the federal solar tax credit. I want to just start by saying the door-to-door salesperson sitting at your kitchen table may or may not have any idea what they're talking about in relation to topics like the solar federal tax credit or net metering or some of the other topics having to do with solar. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking solar, door-to-door solar salespeople. No pun intended. There's some door-to-door solar experts that are exactly that. They are absolute experts. They are very, very knowledgeable when it comes to solar. But for every one of those, there's probably 5 people that are selling solar door-to-door that have absolutely no idea what they're talking about, that are just using talking points like the federal tax credit and net metering policies and other things like that because they're selling features of solar, right? And some of them may even be doing so without any, just because that's how they've been taught to sell solar, when in reality, they don't even know that they're providing misinformation, but they are, right? So this video is going to help you, kind of understand, who actually qualifies for the solar federal tax credit and who doesn't. And just because your, expert solar advisor who's knocking on the door, tells you that you would qualify does not necessarily mean that you would. So this video will provide some information to help you understand. So first of all, what is the solar federal tax credit? The federal solar tax credit, also known as the investment tax credit or ITC, is a government-sponsored program that provides incentives for homeowners and businesses to install solar systems. Okay, the program was designed to further incentivize homeowners to transition their home to solar energy, to both speed up the adoption of renewable energy and to, of course, ease the strain on the energy grid. Right, the more and more homeowners and people that go solar, the less strain on the energy grid, which has caused all kinds of issues with weather and other things like that, which I'm not going to talk about in this particular video. Okay, the tax credit was increased from 26% to 30% in the second half of 2022. So how does the federal tax credit work? It works by reducing the amount of federal taxes owed by the taxpayer. So if a homeowner or business installs a solar system, they can claim a credit equal to 30% of the cost of the system on their federal tax return. Okay, so the tax credit basically reduces your federal tax liability to cover 30% of your home's solar system. So at the end of the year, if you owe nothing to the IRS, you will get a tax refund in the amount of 30% of your solar system, right? Or, let's say you qualify for a $5,000 tax credit and you owe $5,000 to the government on your taxes. You're not going to get a refund check. It's just, you're just going to owe nothing for that year. So it really depends on your, your situation. If you paid taxes throughout the year, or, if you just pay them all at the end of the year. I think you get my drift. Okay, so who qualifies for the solar tax credits and who doesn't? Okay, so first of all, only those who have enough taxable income to cover 30% of the solar system will qualify. So the tax credit does not apply to anyone whose only source of income is Social Security, for example, right? Or anyone without taxable income. You have to have taxable income, like you have to, from a job or from a business or real estate or whatever, right? And not only do you have to have taxable income, but you have to have enough taxable income to cover the tax credit, right? So, I mean, if your tax credit, if you have a huge home and a huge solar system and, 30% of your system is $30,000, right? You have to have enough tax. I mean, probably if you have a home that's that big, you probably have enough taxable income to cover a $30,000 tax credit. It's probably not an issue, but it's just something that you got to think about, right? The solar ITC, as we've discussed, the investment tax credit as it is known, right, does not apply to solar leases or PPAs, which is a power purchase agreement. So with a solar lease or a PPA, the leasing company owns the equipment and therefore they get the tax credit, as opposed to the homeowner. So you must purchase your system to get the tax credit yourself. I mean, most people, it makes more financial sense to own the system, especially in the long term, to own the system anyway. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to come out of pocket for it. I mean, most solar companies have financing options and stuff so that you can, pay for it over time. But you have to purchase it or be financing it towards purchase, right? In order to qualify for the tax credit. So if you lease or you do a solar PPA, which often can, reduce your monthly payments, but at the end of the term, you've either got to renew or you're back to forever renting energy from the utility company, right? Okay, so here's an important one. Are federal tax credits transferable? And this is something that I found interesting, right? So the answer is yes. Federal tax credits can be transferred. This means that if a homeowner or a business does not have enough tax liability to claim the full credit, they can transfer the unused portion of the credit to another taxpayer. So for example, if a homeowner installs a solar system and qualifies for a $5,200 tax credit and only has $2,000 in federal tax liability, like we mentioned, right? They can transfer the remaining $3,200 of the credit to another tax credit, to another taxpayer, spouse, or whatever, right? So I hope that this information has been valuable for you. If you have any questions or you need clarification on anything, please drop a comment and let me know. I'm happy to, to provide further details and information if you need clarification. And for more information about residential solar and to get a copy of the all-new definitive guide to residential solar in the United States, visit the netzerohome.com, and we've got all kinds of other content, free content, answering questions related to solar about net metering and solar batteries and federal tax credits and state specific tax credits. In fact, in the book that you can find, that you'll be able to find on Amazon, right? The second section of the book is all state by state of the different SRECs, which is solar renewable energy credits, solar incentives at the state level that you can get on top of the federal tax credit. So be sure to visit the netzerohome.com and get your copy of the book if that information is what you're looking for, and if you would find that valuable or useful. So visit the Net Zero Home, get yourself a copy of the book, get all kinds of free information there, and I hope you've learned something by watching this video. Check out some of our other content to learn more.